News and Information program with senior correspondent Bill Kelly and correspondents Elizabeth Randall and Suzanne Kelly. And now, Bill Kelly.
This is one of the most eagerly anticipated programs I've ever done here in all my years. I'm Bill Kelly. I want to welcome you to the state of Pennsylvania. I'm here with Pennsylvania's winningest coach. He's George Curry, until December, the coach of the Berwick Bulldogs. Been a lot of press about you the last few days, George.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm really looking forward to this conversation, and I know it's probably one of the most eagerly anticipated programs we've ever done at WVIA. I extended this invitation to you back in December when you had announced that you were leaving the Berwick Bulldogs after 30, how many years?
35.
35 years, and you agreed, and I hope you, at the end of this program, you will be glad that you agreed. But much has happened in the meantime. There's been a lot of press about Wyoming Valley West, where you have applied to be a coach. And I think we ought to get that out of the way right up front, the beginning of the program. What are your comments about what didn't happen there last night?
The only comment I have on that, though, would be I wish something would happen one way or the other. It's only fair to everyone involved.
Yeah.
I think there's coaches who got to move on with their life, and it's in the best interest of the players, the fans, the school, everyone. I think a decision's got to be made. The sooner the better for everyone involved.
You and Ed Michaels. Ed Michaels has been a friend for a long time. I think maybe I ought to explain to my audience what we're talking about. We're both assuming, or I am, that everybody understands. You did apply for an opening in the Wyoming Valley West School District as its coach. Ed Michaels, the coach there for some 9 years, I believe, wants to continue to be the coach. So there is a competition which has become pretty intense. But you both have been remarkably gentlemanly through this whole thing.
Well, Bill, even before I applied, I spoke to Eddie. And Eddie and I talked about it. And I mentioned to him that, hey, I told him the job's going to be open, and we discussed it. And I come right up and said, Eddie, do you want me to apply for that job? If you don't, I won't. So we did have that dialogue.
Yeah.
And boy, never thought it would come to this. Wow. It's
gotten a little out of hand, hasn't it?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our program. I'm looking forward to, with you, learning who George Curry is. I mean, I've read about him for years. You have too. He certainly is a legend. But who is he? What are his values? Is he as competitive as, you can fill in the blank, as whatever, as many of us are led to believe? There are accusations, there are myths, there are statements that are not at all kind to this man. Matter of fact, George said to me a couple of days ago when we were on the phone, when you win a lot of football games, there are people who love you, and there are people who hate you. So we're going to find out about who this man is in just a moment. And the phone lines are open. I'm looking forward to talking to a lot of you tonight and having you learn who George Curry is as well. But first, we have about a 3-minute video piece that will set the scene for George Curry, the Berwick Bulldogs, and why this man is such a legend. Let's go to that tape right now.
Here comes the Bulldogs!
This is our team. This is Berwick.
If my wife ever dies on a Friday night and it's a football game, I got to put her on ice for a couple of days because I got to go to the football game.
Berwick football causes many postponements.
It's kind of like a ghost town. You go through town and nobody's around because everybody's at the football game.
Give me 43 dimes. Banger right, 22 dimes. Watch option! 22-17 trap. Option! Screen! Timeout! You gotta come down!
George Curry, the Bulldogs' excitable head coach, has become synonymous with Berwick football. That'll happen after 34 years at the helm.
What game are you watching? It's been many years and great. Best thing I ever did in my life.
Curry spends countless hours in his football office. Paul Reagan's two sons played for Curry in the 80s. He's thankful for the opportunity Curry gave his boys.
I always said
Every time I see him, I say, George, thanks for making men out of my kids. And I really appreciate that, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Paul's sons are just two of the innumerable Berwick High School students influenced by Coach Curry. But success on the football field doesn't always translate into success in life.
I've always told our youngsters this. I said, look, guys, I don't want you to use football as an end in itself. Use it as a means to an end. Okay? Your brains will take you further than your legs.
Curry's office reflects that thought, plastered with pictures from top to bottom. These walls tell more than just football stories.
I put a lot of pictures on this wall in my office. And the reason I do that, I want the youngsters coming up to see. Right now, they are lawyers, accountants, doctors, optometrists, dentists, teachers, you name it, from every walk of life.
Berwick's footballs forge many ties in the community. In a town of just under 11,000, Crispin Field hosts a little over 10,000 fans on a big game night.
I go to all the games. If we played next week on Mars, I would find a way to get there. Trust me. I never miss a game. Never.
18 dump fork at 5, tell them now.
Under Curry's direction, Berwick's won a total of 6 state titles, an unprecedented 4 in a row from 1994 to 1997. The team was also named national champs by USA Today 3 times in 1983, 92, and 95.
How many people have stopped me and say, hey, I know about Berwick, boy, you guys got quite a football team. Coach Curry literally put us on the map.
Joe! Split! Double! Cover 5! Brad, hurry up!
George Curry's dedication to his team goes beyond X's and O's. He's won 380 games, had 80 losses and 5 ties, earning him the title of winningest high school coach in Pennsylvania.
And I tell you what, they think you're little, they got all these big horses, fine. But I'll tell you what, man, it's the size of the fight in the dog, not the size of the dog in the fight, you know that.
Curry makes sure his team's prepared for anything. A win against Berwick could make a season for an opposing team. Long hours and late dinners are nothing new to Curry. With more energy than a typical 60-year-old, Curry wants to keep coaching as long as his health allows.
I love the town, I love the experience I had, and I want to thank the town of Berwick. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank this town of Berwick.
As the sun sets on practice, the players continue to go through drills and plays that'll prepare them for their upcoming game.
Good job, guys. Great.
So, George, you haven't seen that before, had you?
No, I remember taping some of those interviews, and
Yeah.
but
Is it difficult for you to watch that?
yeah, it's tough.
30-some years of your life.
35 years.
Your pride in the
Yeah.
Berwick Bulldogs, all that you accomplished, it must be more than just melancholy to watch that.
It's tough. It's tough, yeah.
Any second thoughts at all about your decision?
No.
None whatsoever.
Nope. Time. It was time, Bill. It was time.
What made it time? I went through hundreds of pages on the internet and in newspaper articles, and you've never said really why you left.
Well, I'll compare it. Let me just put it this way. You put 35 years in it with anything, okay, you're going to have bumps. You're going to have some bumps in the road. And I would say over the years, especially the last 10 years, there were more bumps than level roads, okay? And it got tough. I mean, and I just think Berwick, it's time for me. Maybe they needed a change. Maybe it's time for Coach Curry to step down. It's think about it. Now, I remember talking to a couple old-timers, and when I say old-timers, I'm talking guys who put 35 and 40 years in the profession. And here's what it boils down to. If you create 3 enemies a year, Bill, you multiply that times 35. How many enemies you have?
Almost 100. You may have far more than that.
Bill, 3 times 35. Bill, add that up. That's over. And I think this is one factor. I think over the years, you create some enemies. Okay, if you don't win, they're on you. If you win, which we've won more games than anyone, you got the envy factor.
Yeah.
There's people that want to bring you down. There's people that make your life tough. And that's happened.
And
I've had people I've had people mad at me because I didn't play their kid. You
Sure.
get people upset with you because this kid carried the ball. You didn't throw to my son or whatever. But they're the little things. That was never a reason why I left. I think what happened is, I'd say the envy thing. I think I found myself trying to apologize for our success with situations, and you know, they hired me in Berwick to win football games, get kids in school, and be a strict disciplinarian, try to make young men out of boys. And I thought I did a great job with that. I worked hard at those three areas, especially the part of getting kids in school. Now, my style is very intense, Bill. It's tough. It's not for everyone. Not everyone can play for Coach Curry. Okay, it's a very intense, aggressive style. And in 35 years, some people may have resented that. So you have that factor, and then plus the fact that when you win, okay, that some people resent that, especially those that couldn't be part of it. For whatever the reason, they're going to resent that.
I'm going to ask you in just a minute if the kids have changed. I think a lot of people are asking that question. I'm going to ask you that question in just a minute. But did Coach Curry change? You know, as we get older, I mean all of us, many of us get less patient. We become more cranky. Did you become tougher, less patient, more difficult even with age?
I think I mellowed. My coaches have told me I mellowed with age. I mean, I've had guys on my staff that played for me, and they've been with me 25, 30 years, and they when I first came to Berwick, you talk to some of the guys on that first team, and then they always kid me. He says, Coach, you used to go 3 a day. We used to have 3 practices a day,
Okay.
not 2, triple sessions. So they said, you backed off, and we used to do a thing called beachheads. You don't give beachheads anymore. You only go 2 a day. So I think you change because over the years, new studies have come out as far as on, nutrition and heat stroke and everything else. So you're more aware of these things today, and you're in an age of where everybody is liability conscious.
Sure.
So you do a better job at taking care of those areas, and maybe because of that, you are a little more mellow in situations.
Okay, let me show you and all my audience at home a mellow George Curry. This is your resignation from the Berwick Bulldogs. We'll watch that and come right back.
I'm not watching that, though. Berwick will be better off. Times come, they got to move forward, forget about Curry. And let's go from there, okay? But kids got to me last night. It's tough, I'll tell you.
You know, you when you make reference to the kids coming to me last night, it was tough. Would you tell us what that was? A couple of petitions from, 7th and 8th graders?
Some of the young kids dropped the petition off. They came to the house, and, it was tough.
They didn't want you to go.
Yeah.
And your priest called you, I think you said, as well.
Well, I talked to the priest. He called me in. He said, Are you sure about this? And I said, yes, Father. I mean, it's
time.
I'm sure about it's time. It's time. Bill, I'm telling you, it was time. 35 years, and again, there's a lot of things happened in that 35 years, and I honestly think that it was tough. It was the last 10 years, like I said, it was a very difficult time. I found myself just trying to defend everything. Everything I did became a major issue, and it was tough.
Okay.
It's like, and it happens. I mean, I see people married 30 years and getting divorced.
Yeah.
People, they just get on each other's nerves.
Yeah. Let's talk about the kids for a minute. You had some people believe there was the proverbial straw that broke George Curry's back this last year with kids you had to discipline. Would you be willing to talk about that tonight without being too specific? You had resignations, kids who walked off the team the night before a decisive football game. Many believe that was the end of the Bulldogs season, and it was just too much for George Curry to handle.
Oh, we had to deal with 7 kids, Bill, and I have rules. I'm a rules coach. There's all kind of rules we have, and the rules are everything from you better be in school every day, you better be in school on time, you can't cut classes, and it goes right down the line. I mean, I have rules for everything. And when a youngster violates a rule, they're going to get disciplined for it. And if you got a choice, if you don't take the discipline, there's the door.
There's the door.
So you have a choice. Some chose the door, so that's the way it is. And I don't. And
but they never did before, George. I mean, historically, kids, as far as I know, didn't walk off your team, and you had a bunch of them that did this year. The question comes down to, have kids changed?
We had 4 walk off the team.
Yeah, okay.
And have kids changed? See, Bill, I in my 35 years in Berwick, we never had that. This was the first year I ran into that type of thing. We've had kids that, I mean, they'll weather anything. Mm-hmm. They will weather anything, okay? And we all weather. I weathered a lot. I mean, that's what I'm trying to tell you. In 35 years, you weather. It gets to the point you say, that's it, okay? Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But we were going for a championship. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that these kind of things were happening. But hey, when I look at 35 years of coaching in that town, and you got 1 out of 34 where it never happened, and 1, you know, I got to be pretty. I'm a pretty lucky guy from that perspective. But it happens, Bill, and those same youngsters, I wish them the best. I mean, it happened, and that's the way I am. I can discipline you one day, and that's it. That's the way it is. The next day, if I see, hey, you know, I'll buy you a hot dog.
I'm going to go to the phones here in just a moment. I want my audience to know what you can't see. I mean, it's been my privilege over the years to interview senators, secretaries of education, really highly ranking people in our country and our state, and we've never had as much press in this studio as we have tonight. Behind the scenes, there are reporters and photographers from the press, both television and print. It's never happened before, even with the kinds of people I've described to you. So the press interest in you, your accomplishments, and what is now happening is, by my measure, extraordinary. What do you make of that? Or is it just what's always kind of been the case with high school football in this region?
Well, I think high school football is no question. It's a big thing. I mean, it's huge. I mean, they get the headlines, and you turn to page 2 and page 3, you'll see the professional scores, and that's, I don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? But it's a fact of reality in our area, and it's done a lot for promoting the sport.
Yeah. You want to talk, and I'm going to do that in just a minute, about the football factory mentality, and I'm going to come to that right after we take a few phone calls. Karen in Mountaintop, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, Karen.
I know one of the reasons why you said you resigned was because of your health. Can you tell us about your health now?
Well, the health is good, Karen. You know, there's no, I mean, knock on wood. Everything's going pretty good. I've had a bunch of tests. I get tested all the time.
You have prostate surgery.
Yeah, well, that was behind. That's 2 years ago. Everything's good. Everything's perfect on that. Knock on wood. So that count is 0. I just did a stress test. You know, the stress echo where you run on that thing.
That was before you came
so
here.
all my health is good. Knock on wood. In fact, I'm going 4 miles a day working out.
Good for you.
I feel good. I got my weight down, Karen. I can run some routes now, buddy.
Karen, thanks for the call. Ted in Lehman. Hi, Ted.
It said his superior.
Ted, are you there?
Good evening, Bill.
Hi, good evening.
This is for Coach Curry. It's basically an honor to talk to him right now. I'm just curious, over the years, how much scholarship money, if you ever sat down and figured out how much scholarship money has been gone for the athletes from Berwick, and basically probably other areas also. I understand he's helped some of the schools from Wyoming area, Pittston area, Valley West, etc., helping different students. I'm just curious if you ever sat down and figured out in dollars how much money these kids got over a period of years.
Well, I could tell you this. I'll bet in Berwick, it's millions. I mean, I'm talking millions of dollars, scholarships. I know there were years when we had $1 million a year. I mean, you take a kid who gets, I remember one year we had 5 full scholarships. You multiply that times, maybe at that time it was 100,000, worth 100,000 apiece. There's $500,000. Okay, then a kid who gets a full ride goes to West Point. The starting fullback is our kid. You look at the price of that education. That could be $250,000.
Yeah.
But over the years, I bet you, I'd say it's got to be over 10 million in that area, give or take. But a lot of our youngsters have got, and that's why, to answer that gentleman's question, you showed the pictures of our field house. I used to put those pictures up, Bill. For every kid that graduated from college, I put their picture up. And I wanted that picture there so the youngsters coming up can see, hey, there's a college graduate. I'm proud of that kid. I got rocket scientists. I got kids in every Ivy League school, Harvard, Yale, Penn, I mean, you name it, Brown University, every one, they're on the wall. And they're all college graduates. And I'm proud of that. But they're all those kids, you know, we've had, you name them, they got scholarships. And the biggest thing is, for that gentleman, 78% of them who have gone, 78% of the Berwick football kids that have gone to school have graduated. And that's higher than the non-athlete. You go to any school president in any college, ask them what percentage of your incoming freshmen graduate. And I can honestly say we got 78% of our kids graduate. Here's what happens, Bill. You'll hear the one or two that don't make it. They'll call them, oh, those dumb jocks, curries. But 78% of my kids have graduated. And I have their pictures on the wall. When they graduate, that thing is up there, and I'm proud of them.
You should be.
I'm very proud of those kids. That means more to me than seeing that kid's, I don't care how many yards, I forget that. People forget that. But that kid's a college graduate. That's what it's all about. We got kids all over the country. Kids from great schools, unbelievable. In fact, I'm hearing from them all. When I retired from Berwick, I got letters, you won't believe this, the mail I get. I found out where they're at. See, and I like to do that. I like to try to keep in touch with those kids.
Let's go to Hunlock Creek and Ron. Hello, Ron.
Hello, Ron. It's Ron.
It is. You're Ron.
Okay. I want a question for Coach Curry.
Go ahead, please.
Why did he desert Wyoming Valley years ago, went to Lehman, and then he went to Berwick, and then why is he intruding on Ed Michaels, which did great for 8 years?
Fair enough question. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay. Well, I resigned from Berwick, 35 years. I said I think it was time for everyone, for Berwick, for Curry, to make a move. When I resigned, I figured I'd coach somewhere, but I had no plans at that point. And when that job opened up, I was approached for that job by some people, and they said the job's open, so I put my name in. I called Ed Michaels, and we talked. And I said, hey, do you want me to apply? If you don't, I won't. It's that simple. But I said, other people may apply, and Eddie will tell you that. So, and I felt, if they're going to open his job, what does that usually mean, Bill? When someone's job is open, what does that mean to you? That means they want to get rid of the guy.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
No. So I put in for the job. That's what it's all about. I mean, and I never had an opportunity to work at Valley West earlier. Like some people say, well, or the gentleman, I don't know if he's saying that I deserted him. No, when I graduated, I got a job at Lake Lehman. Tony Marchikaitis opened the door for me, and I got that job at Lake Lehman. And from 4 years there, I got an opportunity to go to Berwick. And I thought that was a bigger school, a better school, so I took that. And when I retired from Berwick, this thing come up, so I put in for it. And I wouldn't, if Eddie would have told me, no, I'd rather you not apply, I wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't apply for that job. Because I had other jobs.
It's become quite an issue.
I had other opportunities.
I presume you will continue to. If this doesn't happen for you, will you continue to coach somewhere else?
I'll coach somewhere. I mean, I will coach somewhere. I mean, I like football. Bill, I love football.
I know you do.
It's my life.
You didn't. I think I read somewhere in these documents you didn't intend to take another coaching job. You went down to Florida, watched some bowl games or something, and you got lit up again, and you realized you wanted to continue. Is that it?
Yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to get into another head coaching job. When the season was over, 35 years, I said, whew.
Yeah.
It was a rough year. And it was just such a roller coaster of emotions. I just said, I'm gonna sit back, and I always go down there. We always head down to that area after the season. I'm part of that. I like to get involved with that Pop Warner thing down there. They play those national playoffs. But anyway, when it opened, I put in for it.
By the way, it's kind of interesting that you were out at clinics during this time, one of which was in the Virgin Islands?
No, you know what happened there, Bill? Last spring, I was there, and the guy who takes you from your boat, we were going to this beach, and somebody on our bus told him that, hey, see that guy there? He's a football coach in high school back in the United States, and they're starting football over there in St. Thomas.
In St. Thomas.
They're trying to get teams. So he dropped us off, and I'm sitting on the beach, and I'm reading this book. In fact, I always work on my playbooks when I'm done. You know, I'm doing some work. Next thing I know, I see this bus pull up, and all these kids are coming out. This guy brought his team out. He said, "Can you help us, Coach?" So guess what? I'm going there this year. I have to put a clinic on for those people.
In St. Thomas.
Yeah, he's going to have everyone on that. And I told him, I said, I'll coach. I'll give you a day. And I told him the day I'm going to be there. And I said, just bring some people to help me. I can't coach 100 kids by myself. Just give me a couple of helpers, and we'll break them down by position, and we'll go from there. So that's how that thing worked out.
Let's go back to the phones. People want to talk to you. Kevin in Wilkes-Barre. Kevin, thanks for calling.
Hi, thanks.
Go ahead.
Mr. Curry, Coach Curry, actually, I played under you. Thought you were a great coach, and I'm just wondering why now, after Berwick did so much for you, why are you going to sell us out? I mean, it seems like you had one rough year, and that you've always told us that you worked through the hard times.
That's a great question. I'm going to add to it, George, and make it even a little more uncomfortable for you, because I know you can take it. This is from a blog. I don't usually go to blogs, but this is one worth sharing with you. I don't normally do this because they're totally anonymous. But here's a comment. George's move out of Berwick is like a slap in the face for many of the dog faithful. Coach, and he's talking here about Wyoming Valley West, I'm sure. Coach, you have and this is a Berwick person, obviously. Coach, you have left Camelot for Kmart. May I be the first to wish health, best wishes, and that you never beat Berwick. How would you like to answer that?
Well, to answer the gentleman's question, okay, again, I'm trying to be delicate about this. I'm telling you, in the last 10 years were brutal. I don't want to get into detail, Bill.
Okay.
And the gentleman that called me, Kevin, a lot of things happened, Kevin, in those last 10 years that, I'll be honest with you, I can't take anymore. And that's basically what it boiled down to. Okay, there are some situations there that I had enough of it. I'm saying, I'm being nice about it. I'm not going to go into detail with everything.
And it wasn't all the kids.
Oh, no. The kids in Berwick. We had great kids coming.
Okay.
Some good kids come, and it was difficult.
Was it the parents?
No,
it wasn't the parents.
Great
Well,
parents.
that only leaves a certain conclusion.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to say, Bill, is trying to be nice about it. I couldn't deal with it anymore. So I had to get out. I just couldn't go on.
But you're ready to go from one place to another. Aren't those issues going to be elsewhere?
I don't think there'll be that type of issue.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't think there'll be that type of issue. You know, and people who are in our program, people who are close to the program, they know. See? And they know the situation, they know what I had to deal with, and again, my time was up. It was like a bad marriage. You know, it's the easiest way I can put it. It was like a bad marriage without offending anyone. And here again, you two people are working together all these years, and you get at odds with each other all of a sudden, it's time to move on. And to the young kids, and maybe even somebody alumni like Kevin and some of these other people, they don't know.
Yeah, right.
But the people that are close to the program, they understood. In fact, people have come up to me and said, I don't know why you didn't leave earlier. But that's what I'm saying about this. I mean, the time was right, Bill. The time I had to get out of there. That's what it was.
That implies politics. I know you don't want to go into it, but it implies politics. You know, they do say that we know that football is a contact sport. They say that in northeastern Pennsylvania, football is also a political contact sport.
Well,
don't want to go there, do you?
No.
Okay, let's go to Joe in Larksville. Hi, Joe.
Hey, what's up, George?
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe Bendick. How you doing, buddy?
Joe.
I used to own the Fifth Horseman across the street from Patty and Eddie.
Okay.
We shared kibasi dinner together one night. All I want to do is say I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you come to Valley West. And you got a lot of supporters here, and I'm just worried about the politics involved in that situation. But I know you don't want to talk about that, but I think you would do a real good job here in the Valley West. Come back home to your roots. You grew up in Larksville. Come back home, and let's win a couple of championships.
Oh.
Very nice of you, Joe.
Very nice of you, Joe. Yep.
Okay. Here's Jean in Plymouth. Hi, Jean.
Hello, George.
Jean, how are you?
I'm fine. First of all, Coach, I'd like to thank you for applying for the position at Wyoming Valley West. We need you. We need you to put us on the map. Everyone knows you'll be an asset to our program. You are the Coach Paterno of high school football, and we're praying for you, and may God bless you and wherever it takes you. Lots of luck to you, Coach.
Thank you, Gene. Appreciate that.
Very nice, Gene. Thank
Very
you.
nice.
From Hazleton, Charlie has just called in. Charlie, thank you. Hello.
Yeah, George.
Yes, Charlie.
Charlie Brogan calling from Hazleton, George. I'd like to know, do you feel as though you lost finances when the 12th Man Football Booster Club pulled out? And also, is it true that the school board isn't giving you enough money to run the program? Thank you, George.
Well, there are some questions that I didn't know to ask, and they may be what you don't want to talk about.
Well, we didn't lose finances. I mean, we raised. See, I think what was it, Charlie?
Yes.
I think what Charlie's alluding to, we had a booster problem, and it was well documented. There was I weathered a lot of things over the years, Bill, and there was a booster club problem. We had 12th man, and then we had the mom squad, and it just, I didn't want to get in the middle of that, and it did cause some problems. Trust me.
Yeah.
It made it tough, and I'll tell you what, it was tough right to the end. I mean,
did you? I mean, I have gone to Berwick Bulldogs football games with you as the coach on a Friday night, and not even necessarily a huge game. Crispin Field holds what, 12,000 people?
On a big, gigantic game. I mean, the biggest crowds we've ever had where we played St. Ignatius. I mean, probably with standing and people that were in there, they may have had 10.
Well,
I don't know about 12.
It's popularly said that Berwick becomes a ghost town when you got a big home game. That a town of 12,000, your stadium holds 10. It's full. When it came down to the last year, when you felt all this pressure, tired, as you say, I've had enough, it's time to move on. How would you characterize your sense of the town's feeling about George Curry?
Well, you know, I didn't know how it would. Someone asked me that the other day. One of the writers from Wilkes-Barre papers up here, somebody asked me about that. Hey, you know, if I'd like to show them, I have boxes of letters, boxes, letters, people writing to me, cards, and I said, whoa, I didn't know I had that many fans. But that felt good to know that people feel that way. And you know, Bill, football's a game, okay? It's just one facet of your life. But I think I'm well respected in my church. I mean, I love our parishioners. I look forward to being in church with them. We go early. We pray the rosary every day. I mean, I'm a Eucharistic minister. So I do more in the town than just coach football. I mean, I'm part of that church. I'm part of that community. My kids are in that town. They've grown up in that town. That's their town. So, I mean, you know, the Curry critics are there whether I stay or whether I'm gone. In fact, I've always said, okay, when I resigned, I made some people happy. They're still complaining about me. So no matter what I do. But the point is, to answer your question, the people who don't like me, I don't care what I've done, whether I stayed, gone 15-0, if I went 3-7, they're not going to like you anyway. Okay, I've learned that. Okay, you talk to a sports fan. You ever talk to a sports fan? I remember when I was growing up, people loved the Yankees or hated the Yankees. Okay,
it's true.
You ever talk to somebody who hated the Yankees? You couldn't reason with them. So there are those kind out there that feel that way about Coach Curry. But as I look at the big picture and I see all that fan mail and all the support and people sending me gifts, and you won't believe it. My wife said, I mean, the mailman probably got to hurry you. I said, whoa. But anyway, it was
But George, you are clearly not a bad guy. You're clearly not entirely a tough guy. I think we can see that tonight. You emotionally welled up when you watched your resignation. Still, you're a football coach. I would assume that critics are part of the game.
Oh, that comes with the territory.
But it seems to have bothered you. There seems to be a sensitivity in you to the fact that you had critics, no?
No. Here's the thing. It comes with the territory. Okay, you're going to have people that resent, and there are people who are going to accuse you of things. Again, they'll do anything they can to bring you down. I mean, that's a fact of life. That doesn't bother me. I can coach. I don't care what people on the stands, they can boo. It doesn't bother me. You know, I stay focused on. All I'm concerned with, give me a ball, and give me those kids, and give me a field. Let's go play some football.
Yeah.
I'll teach them. We'll get them ready. We'll put a good show on Friday night. That's what it's all about with me. But when the other stuff starts interfering and makes your life miserable, then you got to say bye-bye.
Some of those, I think what you're saying is
you're trying to get it out of me, Bill.
If it's parents, they violated George Curry's 10 commandments of football parents.
Bill, believe me, parents, no problem.
I understand.
In my 35 years of coaching in Berwick, I'm telling you honestly, I don't think, I could count them on one hand. It's the parents where I really had maybe, I don't even remember confrontations. I don't remember any of that.
That's wonderful.
Maybe my first year in Berwick, I remember a guy coming to me, and his kid didn't play, and I won't mention his name, and his kid got injured. I remember the youngster got injured. He was a good kid. And I put a kid in for him, played 9 games, did a heck of a job, averaged 9 yards a carry for him. So the youngster who got injured came back after broke a small bone. Father wanted to know why I didn't start him. I mean, so that was one. I can remember them. There's so few I can actually remember.
I do hope we have time tonight to talk about the 10 Commandments of Football Parents, which you wrote, and I believe which is referred to around this country. When did you write this?
Probably in the early 80s.
Yeah, this document says to me that you care a lot more about the person, the boy becoming the man in this case, and the education and the quality of life and learning about life than you do about football. And I think that's what it says. But I'll go to it in just a minute. We have phone calls backing up. Karen in Larksville, thanks for waiting. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to say hello to Coach Curry, and we look forward at Valley West to you coming if and when it does happen. And I had a question. I was wondering what your plans are if you are hired. Like, is there going to be major changes, anything like that?
You want to go there?
If I'm hired at Valley West, I can tell you this: I will give those people a hard day's work. And if you work hard, good things will happen to you. That's my philosophy. But if it happens, I'm ready for it. I mean, believe me, I'm well organized with it. I'm ready for it if it happens. If it doesn't happen, life goes on.
Good. Okay, Betty, and here's Berwick, home of the Bulldogs. Betty, hi.
Hi, Coach. I just want to say congratulations on your retirement. And I actually have a 3-part question. The first part is, why hasn't Berwick won a state championship in about the last 10 years? The second one is, the number of students that got scholarships to Division I schools has been going down in recent years, and many who did go on to those schools did not graduate from those schools. They didn't complete, but they had to go on to a smaller school. And I guess the third part is, this was a real tough year, and when the going got tough, why did you leave us and get going?
Okay.
Well, to answer your question, we didn't win state championships, but we won numerous championships. Again, I think we set the bar high. So high. In fact, 2 years ago, I remember we have a thing down there, newspapers down there, they can call in, it's called 30 Seconds. Used to have it up here, your say-so call.
Yes, we did.
Some guy wrote in our programs in shambles. We were 9-2. We were 55-16,
that says
Bill,
it all.
in this decade.
Yeah.
But we won a championship. We were in the state playoffs numerous times. We won the title in 2000. We won a 98 title, 99 a title, 2000 a title. The one year we went to the playoffs, we got beat a couple years by Strathaven. We've been there, we just haven't. And maybe the other part of that woman's questions is,
Betty,
but you haven't had as many Division I's. Well, we had a few, okay, and the ones we had have graduated. And I don't know where you're getting your information, but I was just telling a guy, I mean, I look at classes. The majority of them have graduated. I mean, look at Benny Culver and Chris Bell, they're graduating. Al West, Paul Kaminsky. I mean, that one class, they all graduated. That one. And the majority of them do graduate from college. Okay, now if some of them do go to Division I, and maybe they're not playing, sure they transfer to a smaller, but they don't quit. They still play football. They transfer down. They finish their education, and they're doing well.
Okay.
Ryan Johnson just graduated from West Point. I can go on and name them. I don't know where the stats are coming there, but I tell you what, again, it's in how you want to interpret it, okay? Yeah, we didn't win state championships, but we won championships.
You're going to still live in Berwick?
If I get a job somewhere else, eventually I'll probably move there.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to be tough to leave Berwick? Not the football program, the town. As a neighbor, friend, citizen, all of those things.
Yeah, it would be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, we'll see.
Okay, very good. Barbara in Plymouth. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Coach Curry, hi, and thank you for even considering Valley West. My questions, as I'm sitting on hold, have all been answered. So I guess that just really leaves me with one question, and I don't think it needs an answer. Do you realize how many of the parents are in favor of you coming to Valley West that aren't getting the press for whatever reason? But there are a lot of people waiting for you to come to Valley West.
Thank you, Barbara. You're getting press here.
Well, Barb, you know, I just hate to see all this happen.
I'm sure you do.
To be honest with you.
Of course you do. And he's a friend. Ed Michael's a friend.
Eddie, I got a lot of respect for the guy, and I hate to see it happening. I hate to see the whole thing happening. Okay, I hate to see coaches get dismissed.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to see it. But you know, that's the way it is. Bum Phillips, the old Houston Oilers coach, used to have a saying: two kind of coaches out there. Those that got fired, and those who are going to get fired. Okay. And when you think about it,
Boy, that makes you want to be a coach, doesn't it?
But you know what, though, Bill? Stop and think about it. Some of the biggest, most successful names in high school football have gone through. I mean, I look where I'm at and where my career has gone, and it's in the same direction. One of the best guys that ever wore a coaching hat, in my opinion, was Jazz Diminick. How about what that guy went through over at Mount Carmel? Phenomenal football coach. Phenomenal. I love being around the man.
So you might have gotten out at just
yeah. I mean, the poor guy we got rid of. Dick Purnell, great coach. Billy Flint, up there in Valley View.
Could that have happened to you at Berwick if you stayed too long?
Sure. Oh, God, you look at Joe Paterno. I mean, the guy, they were crucifying him. I don't think he had one positive thing said about him for 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
Now, this year, all of a sudden, hey.
He's back on top.
He's a hero.
Let's go to Kingston. Bob, thank you for waiting. Hi, Bob.
Hello. Good evening, gentlemen.
Go ahead, please.
Hi, Coach. I had the opportunity of playing up against you some years ago when I played for Valley West, and I personally know Coach Michaels. My question is to you: do you think that the school board is being pressured by his family members, namely his dad, into not voting for you? Because if they basically put the resumes on the table, it's hands down. You should get the job.
Okay, thank you.
And if the job is open...
Bob, I got to cut you off. We're running out of time. I know that's hard for you to answer. Do you even want to deal with it?
No, I appreciate Bob saying the nice words about me. And
okay.
Again, this whole show, you can tell who likes Curry and who doesn't like Curry.
That's the way it is.
You hear those little
bit of
windows and the way they twist things.
Well, we try to be balanced journalists, George. Let's go to Swearsville and Jack. Hi, Jack.
Hey, how you doing, Ron?
It's Bill, and this is George.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Jack.
Listen, George, this is from my family, from Swearsville. We live on Aller Street. We're 1,000% behind you, buddy, and we hope you get the job. We're always behind you, and don't listen to anything or say anything you see in the paper, you hear anything. You should get the job, young man, and I hope you stay with it, okay? Don't back out.
That young man thing has to be one of the nicest things you've heard in a while.
Young man.
That's what he said.
About me.
He said young man. Yeah.
Thanks, Jack. Call me a young man. I appreciate that.
Also in Swearsville is Amy. Amy, thank you. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
Hi, Amy.
Hi, I just wanted to make just a comment, and I have a question for you. I just want to say that there's a lot of supporters out there for you that are just, I guess, afraid to voice their opinion, but you have a lot of us behind you. And I'm a 1999 graduate of Valley West, and I'm behind you 100%. And I just wanted to ask you, were you surprised at all by the way the board voted?
Yeah, yes.
Straight answer. Good
Straight.
for you.
Yes, I was. Yep.
And by the way, for those of you who are not up to date on this issue, the Wyoming Valley West School Board was split 4-4, and they were supposed to vote last night, but the tie-breaking vote, the gentleman was on vacation, so they couldn't, and that meeting, that vote has been put off for a special meeting, I guess near the end of the month. You going to wait for that vote, or are you going to pull out?
Next question.
You don't want to go there either, do you?
Next question.
I knew I'd have one that you turned me away on. Back to the Bulldog town, Berwick and Wendy. Hi, Wendy.
Good evening, Bill. Hi, Coach.
Hi, Wendy.
I'm just calling in, number one, to thank Coach. He's put Berwick on the map. Secondly, I would like to say my son Paul played for Coach, and I just want to bring to the forefront what most people don't realize is the dedication and the work that Coach Curry puts out, not only for his own players, but other players in the area as well. If it wasn't for him, there would be players out there that would not be recognized, not be offered college scholarships. In our recruiting process, we didn't realize the work that Coach put in until we were out there amongst other parents from all over the country, and we realized that we did nothing as far as tapes, putting information together for our son. We basically showed up, and the coaches had everything they needed. There were parents that paid thousands of dollars to promote their children. So people need to realize Coach is not in this for himself. There's something in it for someone who wants to take something out of it for them. And I would just like to say thank you. I wish you the best, and God bless you.
That's very nice.
Thank you, Wendy.
That's very nice.
Yeah, her boy went to the University of Brown. That was a great role model.
Yeah.
Student athlete right there.
You care about it's so obvious, and I'm not saying this with I hope real objectivity, having done my homework, having read so much. One of the things that is most interesting about you is something I started to say before. You wrote in the 80s, the 10 Commandments. Let me just share a few of these with the audience at home. You care about more than football. The hype on you, the bad hype, is that you recruit, that you're very, very tough, you're a lot of bad things. You're not. Here's the 10 Commandments of Football Parents, written by George Curry. I'm going to do a few of these while we wait for the phones to open up again. Be positive with your son. Let him know he's accomplishing something by simply being part of the team. Don't offer excuses for him if he's not playing. Encourage him to do his best. Don't put down his coaches. If you constantly badmouth your son's coaches, how can you expect the youngster to respect and play for them?
Stop right there.
Sure.
And Bill, you know why I put that commandment in?
Yeah.
It's the same with teachers. It's the same with a teacher. If your youngster goes into a classroom and comes home and starts complaining about that teacher, and right away you defend him, you start hammering that teacher, part of your education is learning how to deal with that teacher. If you expect your youngster to learn in that class, you better tell him, hey, look, I remember one time my daughter come home and was really upset with one of her teachers. I said, look, come here, sweetheart. You're going to go in there, and you got to adjust to him. He's the boss. You got to learn and put your mind. If you have a bad attitude to that man, you'll never learn because you don't want. There's a shield there right away. So let's get on with it. And part of your life is learning to deal with coaches. I don't care who they are. You got to learn to deal with your coaches because when you go out in the real world, you got to deal with. It's crazy out there.
Yeah. The fourth of your 10 Commandments, whether he, your son, is a first stringer or a seventh stringer. Players must follow rules pertaining to curfew, drinking, smoking, girlfriends, promptness, and school. Coaches must concern themselves with a player's off-the-field activities. 5, insist on good grades. 6, parents, don't criticize other players because you dislike their parents. That's very interesting.
Sure, that could happen too.
Don't be a know-it-all. The coaches work with the players year-round, and they know what each kid can and cannot do. And the only other one I'm going to mention, encourage your son to play for the love of the game, not for a scholarship.
And you know what I mean by that, Bill? If you play for a scholarship, you could become selfish. You'll only want, if you don't get the ball, you're upset. You know, I like to look at the team concept. Football is a team sport. You play hard, you play for love of the game. You don't play for, you should not be motivated extrinsically. You should be motivated intrinsically. And by that, I give speeches on that motivation. An extrinsically motivated kid is a kid who wants some, he'll do well and be aggressive and be motivated if there's something in it for him.
Yeah.
A kid who's motivated intrinsically is going to do it because he loves what he's doing. There's a passion there. He wants to be part of that. And that's what I try to instill in our kids. You got to play if there's no one in the bleachers or if there's 10,000 people in the bleachers. You got to play hard if you have to block every down and never touch the ball. Or if there's one pass thrown to you in a game, you got to get your job done. Go back to that other rule about your role. Everyone has a role. There's one football. You can't keep everybody happy. Our main goal is let's do it as a team, one heartbeat. Let's get it done from that way.
Back to the phones. We have people backed up who want to talk to you, and we only have about 5 minutes left. Kathy in Kingston, thank you for calling.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to greet Coach Curry to the Wyoming Valley West School District. It's an honor that you even put your application in. And I just have one question. I am sort of familiar with the Berwick football team. As a coach, do you give fair chances to everyone on the sidelines?
Well, we've been averaging, Kathy, 50 letters a year. Between 48 and 52 kids earn a letter. And I'll tell you one of the things we do, Kathy, that I think that helps our kids. I run a lot of formations. I run a lot of power sets, a lot of spread formations. So because I do that, I take different body types. That little guy can play for me because he may be on some of those spread formation teams. That tweener, that kid who's not quite big enough to be a lineman and maybe not fast enough to be a wide receiver, I use a lot of power sets. We call them Kansas backs, and we have different names for them. So they may be on that. So, Bill, if you're on my football team, you may be on 8 or 9 formations. So you're going to play, every time I call that formation, you're on that field, okay? If the gentleman here behind the camera is on a spread team, he's going to be on the field when I run spread team. So to answer your question, we do play quite a few kids, and there are a lot of letter winners on our football program.
Great. Let's go back to the phones. Pottsville's calling. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bill.
Go ahead,
Coach
please.
Curry, this is Bob from Pottsville. I don't know if you remember when we brought you some kielbasa up.
Hey, Bob, I remember you.
Listen, you talked a little bit about your Hall of Fame, and you were very gracious to show me the Hall of Fame, and just to look on your eyes when you're talking about the kids that have graduated, it's just so darn impressive. I hope you get back into coaching. There's a whole generation of kids that need you. So best of luck. I hope I see you in the newspaper again coaching somewhere.
Thank you, Bob.
Very nice. Peckville. Jan in Peckville. Hi.
Good evening, Bill and Coach Curry.
Hi, Jan.
I've been watching this program for about an hour now, and I watched it because I noticed in the advertisement in the paper that it said Coach Curry is going to set the record straight. Coach, you really haven't set the record straight. Please be honest with us. Could you really tell us why you resigned and set the record straight as the advertising for the program has told us?
You've got me on that one, Jan. I told the coach I was going to press him on what he meant by, and that was your quote, set the record straight. What record do you want to set straight?
I told you the last 10 years, I had a hard time dealing with it.
But you didn't say what it was, and you're not going to, are you?
You know, to start listing, okay, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is, I mean,
okay.
I don't think that would be the way to go with that, and
you're going to go in a classy way.
I just want to say I owe a lot to the town of Berwick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to badmouth them. Yeah, I had rocky times the last couple of years, and I'm being honest with you. I couldn't take it anymore. Okay.
One of your neighbors is on the phone, Berwick.
All
Rob.
right.
Rob, go ahead, please.
Hi, Bill. Coach, I work a lot with Berwick football, BerwickDogs.com, and I get a lot of mail asking about how you feel when Berwick plays Valley West, Game 7. Now, Berwick and Valley West are big rivals, and I'm just wondering how you feel if some of the fans are going to boo you. because a lot of people refer to Berwick fans like Eagles fans. When you're here, we love you. When you're gone, so long. I just want to know how you'd feel about that.
Well, you know what, Rob? That'll be if this ever happens. I mean, I expect that. I would expect that. I mean, it's going to be very difficult because if one of my assistants gets the job, I'll be playing against my staff. In fact, we already talked about that. If that ever happened, I said, hey, we remember now. I coached all you guys. You coached for me. We were part of it.
It'll happen.
It'll never disrupt our friendship.
Good.
And the thing is, yeah, it'll be difficult. But again,
we got to take one more call. We have a minute left. Here's Jared in Williamsport. Hi, Jared.
Hi, how are you, Coach?
Hi, Jared.
Hey, Coach, I'm from a Quad A school, and I was wondering if you ever consider moving up to the Quad A level and the challenges that would that you seem to enjoy.
Well, I applied for a job at a Quad A school, and that's the job I applied for, Wyoming Valley West, and that's a Quad A school. So if I get it, I'll have that opportunity. Okay. There were a couple other schools, Quad A schools, that have asked me about this and about coaching at their school, and I didn't apply there, but I did apply to Valley West.
Well, I hope we're out of time. I hope all of you at home. I told you this was going to go by fast. I hope all of you at home have learned who George Curry really is. You're mythological. I mean, you're truly a legend, and you gave us an hour, and were wonderfully honest about yourself. I appreciate that very much, George.
Thanks, Bill.
Good.
Being here. It did go fast.
Best of luck to
Thank you very
whatever
much.
happens to you.
Thank you.
And thanks for a great football program in our region. Thank you for watching, everyone. Good night.
This has been another locally produced program via your public television studios.